All right, we're going to get started, everyone. All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, which is actually going to be on Sunday. This is a day we remember those lost and pay tribute to the survivors who have been affected by roadway crashes. My name is Kristen Petway. I'm the Executive Director of Drive Smart Virginia, which is a traffic safety nonprofit. Here in Virginia, there have been more than 4,500 people killed and 36,000 people seriously injured on our roads over the past 5 years. Most of those injuries and deaths could have been prevented had drivers just made safer and smarter decisions behind the wheel. During the holiday season, families should be celebrating together, not mourning the senseless loss of a loved one. Unfortunately, crash rates tend to increase during this time of year. With more people traveling, shopping, celebrating, the roads become busier and risks increase. This is a season for connection, joy, and gratitude. Yet many families, a single moment will shatter that happiness. This morning, you'll hear from traffic safety experts, advocates, survivors, and victims. I'd like to introduce our next two speakers. We have Kimberly Burt, who is the Deputy Director of Programs for Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles Highway Safety Office. And then she'll be followed by Dave Madaris, the President of the Chesapeake Region Safety Council. So I'll turn it over to Kimberly.
Good morning, everyone. I would first like to give thanks to Drive Smart Virginia for gathering us today to observe World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims. This day holds deep importance as we remember and honor the lives that have been lost in roadway tragedies and acknowledge the loved ones who carry those memories. At the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles, under the leadership of Commissioner Gerald Lackey, who serves as the Governor's Highway Safety Representative, we want to extend our gratitude to everyone who works tirelessly to protect lives on our roads. This includes our dedicated law enforcement officers from the Virginia State Police to local law enforcement agencies and to the law enforcement division within DMV. We also recognize the heroic efforts of our first responders, the medical community, and community advocates who are on the front lines striving to prevent crashes, save lives, and support victims. To the families and friends who have suffered the loss of a loved one due to roadway tragedies, we stand with you today and always. We honor the memories of the loved ones you carry with you, and we are committed to working in ways that may prevent others from experiencing the profound loss. In Virginia alone, roadway fatalities over the past 2 years represent 1,912 loved ones who will not be with us this holiday season. The impact of each life lost extends beyond the families. It extends into our communities and our Commonwealth, reminding us all the urgent need for continued vigilance and action. While we've seen some progress this year, with statewide crash fatalities being down about 2% as of November 14th, there is still so much work that needs to be done. The lives represented in these numbers aren't just statistics. This is empty seats at dinner tables, absent voices at family gatherings, and cherished memories carried by those left behind. As we look ahead, the DMV is refining our strategies, using new data insights, and building partnerships to make our roads safer. Together, we are making a meaningful impact, and with continued collaboration, we will further reduce road crashes and fatalities. Today, as we come together, let us remember the victims and recognize the emotional and financial toll that road traffic crashes bring to families and communities. Let us strengthen our mission to promote safety initiatives that change behaviors and ultimately save lives. Thank you all for your commitment and support as we work together for safer roads across Virginia. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Madaris from the Chesapeake Region Safety Council. I am incredibly humbled to have an opportunity to speak to you all especially the people who have lost so much as a result of these terrible car crashes. You know, it just, the only thing I can offer to you is that an angel of peace comes upon you and comforts your heart, because I know that that pain you're dealing with is just inexplicable to some degree. Each year in the United States, we lose tens of thousands of people on our roadways. Every single day, we lose more than 100 people driving to and from, getting in a vehicle, getting behind that wheel, and taking off. And it's just, why does this happen? Why does it happen? Excessive speed, distractions, impairment, failure to use an occupant restraint. Those are 4 simple solutions or causes as to why these things happen. How do we solve it? We have a little bit of compassion for each other on the road. We have something called, I like to call it, compassionate accountability. There was a great teacher that one time told us all that we just had to love each other a little bit. And if we drive down that road with a little love, a little compassion, that compassion that results in accountability, and what accountability takes is the courage to do the right thing when you're operating a vehicle on the roadway. So I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to have that courage to drive safely and think about the person that's driving next to you. Thank you all very much.
So thank you to Kimberly and Dave. Now we're going to hear from those affected by traffic crashes in Virginia. First, we'll hear from Christy King, followed by Brad Hughes, Patty Kraszewski, Tammy McGee, and Meredith Spies.
Hi, I'm Christy King. This is my baby, my son, Christopher. He was killed in a car crash right after he graduated high school. He was in a car with 3 other kids, and the driver was speeding, just like you were talking about. He was speeding, he was impaired, he didn't have his glasses on, the multitude of horrible driving choices. But Christopher was the only one that died that night because he didn't have his seatbelt on. So obviously I'm a huge advocate for seatbelt usage. It will save your life. I just ask that you remember him, share his story with your friends, your family, your kids, your grandkids, that it can happen to you. And I ask also that on this day, that when you're driving down the road and you see those memorials, roadside memorials, that you stop and think that that's a family, that's somebody real that lost someone. So just take that opportunity to drive safer, do better on the roads. It takes all of us. Thank you.
My name is Brad Hughes. March 17, 2014, while working a traffic crash in Chesterfield County. I'm responding there, doing the job that I love doing for several years. It was an icy day outside, so we remind drivers every day that when it's icy outside, inclement weather, just like it is today, we need you to slow down. Don't drive the same speed limit. But on this day, this driver was driving distracted, was having a conversation with his significant other, and failed to slow down, failed to move over for first responders. Because of that, I lost both of my legs. It has been 10 years since that incident occurred. And since then, I've made it my duty to step up, talk to students, talk to drivers, talk to anyone about these dangers, and to remind them that you're not invincible. That this can happen to you in 3 seconds. In 3 seconds, you can change somebody's life, and in 3 seconds, you can take your own. Each and every day, when you see somebody on the side of the road, we got to remind our drivers that are out here to please slow down and move over for our first responders. Unfortunately, we lost Lieutenant Brad Clark from the Hanover County Fire Department because of that incident. And this trend seemed to be going on and on and on. All we're we're asking you to do is make a move so others can follow, and that we can all come home to our families. Thank you very much.
My daughter Lainey was 24 when she was hit by a distracted driver as she rode her bike home from work. Even though witnesses said she was well lit and easily visible, the driver said he never saw her. He was too busy looking at his phone. The ironic thing is, long before Lainey could drive, she would watch me drive. I never texted, but she made it clear she didn't like it when I talked on the phone. If my phone rang, Lainey would snatch it up and answer it before I could get it and say, "Hi, Mom's driving. What would you like me to tell her?" Another ironic thing about the way Lainey died is she was one of those upbeat, sunny personalities. She would literally bounce into a room. You all know the type. She was always looking for and finding the good in people. But only seeing the good in people can be a dangerous thing, because Lainey was much too trusting of drivers. Her attitude was, "I'm doing everything right, and others will too." If only the world worked that way. If only we could rely on every driver to refrain from the temptation to play with their toys while at the wheel. If only. Maybe we wouldn't all be here today. We have a hands-free law now, but I still see drivers fiddling with their phones on a daily basis as they drive. Talk about road rage. This is what does it to me. I only hope I live long enough to see distracted driving become a thing of the past. To see car manufacturers invent a force field that disables phones in the driver's seat. Forget self-driving cars. Why is anyone trying to make it easier for phone addicts? How about cars that won't budge till you put your phone away? Till that day, sadly, all we can do is make do. All we can do is educate, raise awareness, and enforce the laws we have, laws that many of us here fought for. Meanwhile, it grieves me every day to think of all the lives that will needlessly be sacrificed before we eliminate the plague of distracted driving. All the moms and dads and grandmas who one day just won't come home. All the daughters, sons, and siblings deprived of their chance to grow up. All the Laneys and Christophers and Karens and Connors. We all need to think the unthinkable. That maybe someone you love could also be sacrificed to some driver's phone addiction and end up a statistic. If only all drivers would remember, driving is a responsibility. It was never meant to be fun and entertaining. Every driver holds multiple lives in their hands, and those hands have no room for a phone. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tammy McGee, although many know me as Connor's mom. This is my baby Connor. My path as a roadway safety advocate began with the tragic loss of Connor at age 16 when he hopped into the car with a teen driver who was underage, unlicensed, and allowed to drive by his parents. Since that day, I have dedicated myself to preventing other families from experiencing this kind of loss, the loss of a child. The Guido Memorial Foundation educates new teen drivers and their parents on the dangers around destructive driving decisions. Connor was the one who could make you laugh out loud in church. Connor was the one doing cartwheels on the soccer field, rallying his team to come back and win that game. Connor was the one who could make you smile no matter what your day was like. Connor's death, like so many others, are 100% preventable. Around the world, countless families suffer due to road crashes, leaving us forever changed by the loss of a loved one or the life-altering injuries of a crash. Quite often, these crashes are rooted in dangerous driving behaviors, and the effects ripple not just through the immediate family, but through our communities, touching every aspect of life. We must remember that behind each incident is a person, a cherished family member, a friend, a part of someone's future. My challenge to you today is to be loud. Speak up when you know someone is driving reckless. Speak up when you are a passenger in a vehicle being driven unsafely. Speak up and ensure that everyone in the vehicle is buckled up before that car takes off. Speak up when someone picks up their phone to text in a vehicle. If you see something, say something.org. That is us. We want you to be loud and to speak up. Enough is enough. For those of us affected by roadway tragedies, sharing our stories is one way we hope to prevent others from facing the same sorrow and loss. Through awareness, we can foster a culture of safety on our roads, ensuring that loved ones' legacies contribute to a safer future for everyone. Let us honor the memories of those we've lost by committing to safer driving choices today and every day, each and every time you get behind the wheel. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Meredith Spees, and today I remember my mother, Karen Giles, who was killed by a man texting and driving a dump truck on Geneseo Road in Chesterfield. That day, I lost my mom. Our children lost their grandmama, and the state of Virginia lost a firefighter, an EMT, and a first responder educator who dedicated more than 30 years of her life to saving lives on the roads. She never met a stranger in her whole life. A native Texan, she was friendly and warm and just could talk to anyone and anywhere. She should be here with her 4 grandbabies. For Christmas, for Thanksgiving, they should know her and remember her. But that was taken from us. For us who are here, the families, the survivors, the victims, we don't need one day of remembrance. Every day is a reminder of our loss. Sharing that loss is very painful and has an emotional toll. But as you've heard, our goal is to prevent others from being in the same situation. I used to text and drive. I didn't think it would ever be a problem. And so many people still think that. I don't want it to be a situation where you've lost a loved one before you stop. Please do not text and drive. When you drive, just drive. Don't take someone else's life in your hands. Just don't do it. Thank you to Drive Smart and Kristen for letting us be here today and for letting us share our message in the hopes of preventing other people from losing lives.
Thank you all for sharing your stories and for your unwavering commitment to preventing others from facing similar tragedies. You inspire us with your dedication and your tireless efforts every day. For our part, Drive Smart is going to be working hard this session and every session until it happens that we here in Virginia have stronger seatbelt laws. We'll be working with Christy King and her group on that. Seatbelts reduce the risk of fatal injury by 45%. And it is something that you should talk to your loved ones about. If you know they're not wearing their seatbelts, please ask them to buckle up so that they can come home to you. To every driver traveling our roadways, Remember, every time you get behind the wheel, lives are at stake. If you don't want to be a reason for another family to have to bury a loved one, then please drive like it. If you don't want to be burying your own loved ones, buckle up, slow down, drive sober and focused. Share the road with care, respect bicyclists, pedestrians, and motorcyclists. Together, we can prevent tragedies and ensure that more families stay whole this holiday season and beyond. Thank you for your commitment to safer roads, and let's keep working toward a future where everyone can make it home safely. Thank you.